Okay, we're here trying to describe how to use this IEP and reevaluation schedule document. It's a Google Sheet. It's got some pretty cool features, but in order to describe it, I want to go through kind of a mock process. Ooh. And so just to kind of real quick highlight, and then I'll give you a little disclaimer, and then we'll kind of move into it. So we're going to be looking for this information, these columns, 2, 3, 4, 5, just 6 columns of information, and you kind of, then you're all set. It should do the rest for you. A couple of these check boxes are just kind of for your convenience. If you want to just make some notations about different types of services, or if you want to, it just helps you kind of keep track of some things as a database. So first thing is, I want you to understand that while I'm showing all these documents on the computer, you'll be looking in the actual student's confidential file found in your locked cabinet in your classroom. There may be some differences in what you will see in the student files in the cabinets, but the major titles of the documents will not differ from the documents you see on screen as I'm walking you through the process. So like I said, we're going to look first for student ID and student name. So what will be sent to you is a class list. So I've got a mock class list to kind of show you a couple of the key features that we'll need from the class list to fill out this sheet. So they'll be titled either ACC for Accommodated Core Class or EEC for the Essential Elements class. And they'll also have a list of the school you're teaching. And there'll probably be some more information, but for right now, this condensed chunk is good enough. So again, we found student ID, the last name and first name. That's the information we're looking for first. And we're going to use an example of Bob Ewell here to kind of get us going. So we're going to walk through Bob Ewell's dates and etc. So first thing we'll do is we're going to type in Bob's student number, which I'll just read it to you. It is 45543, and then we're going to put in Bob Ewell. So that's it. That's 2 out of the 6 cells already. Okay, so now we're going to look for classification. So in order to find the student's current classification, you will turn to the Current Classification tab in your student's confidential file. That's the one from your cabinet. You'll need to find the page entitled Team Evaluation, Summary Report, and Written Prior Notice of Eligibility Determination. Okay, so this is an example of what that'll look like right here. Oh, there they are, the tools, woohoo! Okay, so that's the name and title, and then at the end of that title, it'll have a little colon, and then there is your classification right there, okay? So you just take that and you're going to transfer it over to the sheet. Now the caveat is that these have been condensed to just a couple of just some initials, abbreviations for the classification. So we'll include also kind of a key for that if you need that. But this is going to be AU for autism. So that gives us now 3 out of our 6 cells that we need. So now we're going to go look for the eligibility date. In order to find that, you're just going to scroll through this document again, and then down.
Turn pages.
You're going to turn pages in your actual file. Sorry, I'm getting used to scrolling, but then and then you're going to look for the signature page, which we have right here as 10/3/2017. That's the date that we're seeing.
Oh, that's a silver placement.
Sorry, that's the wrong one. So let me go back again. And so you'll turn it until you see this page here, which has got your signatures again and dates. There's none on here, but we're going to go ahead and use the date of 10/3/2017 just for the purpose of filling out this form. So again, current eligibility, you'll type in here, 10/3/2017, okay? And now we just need to find the last 2 bits of information, which we're going to find under the under a different tab. In order to find the student's current IEP date and birth date, you will turn to the IEP tab in your student's confidential file. The student's current IEP should start right underneath this tab. You'll need to find the page entitled Individualized Education Program, Service, and Placement. So here's what that looks like. That's the one I accidentally went to before. I apologize for that. So that's the title of the page. This document is usually 3 to 4 pages in length and is found near the end of the student's current IEP, just before the assessment addendum. You're looking for the first for the birth date, found 2 lines below the title of the page, so right here. And I don't know why that tool's not popping up, I apologize, but that is right there. So the birth date that's listed is 1/26/1999. Bob is very old, so we're going to modify that a little bit and say birth date is, I'm sorry, I forgot already, 1/26. We're going to do 1/26/2007, okay? And then we're going to find the current IEP date, kind of like we did with the eligibility form. You're going to turn to the end of the document, and you're going to find the signature page and go off of that date there. So that's an example of it right there. So I'll go back to the document, and I'm going to put in 10/3. It said 2017, but for the purposes of this document, we're going to put it as 2018. What you're going to find here, just to show you that we are actually using real dates, there are some students with real information, so that'll also pop up when I kind of walk you through what you should start to see as this information pops up through this document. So we'll get to that in just one second. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just real quickly go through the real reason we're doing this document, at least part of it, and that is the calendar component of it. So the student database is the main page, so everything is drawing from the student database. That's why you have to make sure that these cells are filled out accurately. What you're going to see here is a kind of a whole calendar glance. You can change the year on this, and it will actually automatically change everything. So this kind of becomes a dynamic. Becomes a dynamic calendar. But you'll want to make sure that you don't change the month or start date, or it kind of will mess up things. So those stay 1 and 1. So that's one thing I want you to be aware of. So we're going to go put this back to 2019 and 2020. And then we're going to jump into the calendar. So obviously, you see down here at the bottom, January 20th, blah, blah, blah. The school year, they're just weird, but they start, it starts July. So in July is where we're starting for the 2019 year, and then we're going to work our way up to the 2020 year. But basically, as you go through each calendar, you're going to see some features. So you've got the month date, which again, if you change the calendar main page, will change all of this. All of this changes. So let me show you that real quick. You'll notice that for 2019 July, Monday is the 1st. But if I go back to cross our fingers, go back and change this to 2020 and then go to July, you're going to see that it changes to 2020, and then of course the first day is Wednesday. Now the downside of that is you do have to rename the pages on the bottom, which is as easy as clicking in and then changing it to July 20 when that needs to happen. So that's just some information on kind of some of the functionality of the system. All right, so back to July where we start in 19. So obviously there's nothing here. There's a couple things we're going to be looking for. In these different cells, you're going to have names pop up for different action items. So you'll have your IEP action items, you'll have data review action items, and you'll have eligibility action items. And different colors will designate different things you need to keep in mind. Yellow for transition IEPs, green for classification changes from developmental delay, and then blue for data reviews, so that you know what the differences are. So we'll show you a couple examples here. Again, not going to see much until you get to about October. So you can see here that we have a few IEPs that are popping up. Good old Bob Ewell popping up for us on October 2nd. So that's when you'd have to, now these dates aren't when you're going to have them per se, but it at least tells you by when they need to be done to remain in compliance. And so that's what this calendar is for, is to project out your schedule a little bit, so you kind of get a sense of when things are coming due, so you can make sure you're staying on target. Down here you'll see Joe Montana and Fred Phillip. They both have data reviews coming up November 29th. At least by then. You can obviously before, but you want to start. It gives you about 2 months before the actual eligibility will be due, in case you do need to do testing in the interim. Again, December, you'll see a couple more data reviews. Obviously, this is going to be more comprehensive depending on the caseload that we're looking at. And then we start getting into some other different things. So here you have a student who's got an IEP that's a transition year. So it's just there to remind you that need to do transition for that student. So you'll see quite a few of those things coming up. Then we have here a cool feature with the IEPs and then eligibilities. What I've created on this worksheet is for you to be able to see it. What it does is it pushes everything to the same date. So if you've got an IEP date due with an eligibility due that year, they're going to be on that same date so that you know to get them both done at the same time, so you're not having to repeat the process. So anyway, that's kind of an example. And then it turns green again for the developmental delay classification that you need to make sure you take care of before that time. And so there's just some it's just some good helps to kind of trigger different reminders and to try to help you make sure you're not missing anything as you go along. Again, you've got another transition date. So that's just kind of the features. It's not really, I mean, it seems simple. It takes a lot of effort on the back end, but I think hopefully it will create a lot of help for you as you go through trying to make sure you're in compliance. I see all these errors pop up. That's just the formula is trying to do their magic. What I wanted to show you finally is the best way to utilize these is to print them out. And so you're going to have a print. They're very, very large calendars. They have to be large because they have to take up potential multiple dates. And so you can see here, there's a couple things that I've done to make sure you get it still on one page. And I'm sure that that's what you'd want to do. You can print out a couple months at a time, or you can print the whole year out. Things will update as it goes because it's pulling off of current days. And so you may want to revisit your calendar and only print a couple months out. That's really kind of up to you. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure you've got it selected here. Wonder if my tools will come back on. Okay, perfect. You've selected over here at fit to height, that one, and then you're going to do some custom numbers. And what that's going to do is going to pop up this kind of almost puzzle piece looking thing. And you're going to change your margins to 0 at the top, 0 at the left, 0 at the right, and 0.5 at the bottom. That's going to give you the biggest calendar that you can possibly print. The downside is you probably want to print in color because we have created these colored designations on the different IEPs and eligibilities just as a key. So the key's at top and it'll print out, but then you can print kind of a bigger one-page calendar, which then you can write on and make notations about when they actually are occurring and things like that. And then as you update the form, it will actually update as you change the years. Like I said, the only thing that you have to do is make sure that at the bottom you change the years to the next year, so you don't get confused at the tabs. But everything changes for you automatically. The month will change, all the dates will change automatically, so you don't have to do any of that work. The only thing that you need to change is, of course, the month, year that's listed there, and then also on the student database, you'll have to change this information as it is updated. So that's kind of a quick tutorial on the IEP and reevaluation schedule. Thank you.